All right, that's all welded out. Next step is to cut. I got a little angle iron here, 1 inch, and I need to make a little paver shelf all the way around the perimeter of this. This frame is essentially built to support the handrail, kind of floating up on top of the deck. It's got to be heavy enough, strong enough to withstand the required amount of push or pull or side load, whatever impact. So it does that, but then the pavers over that roof sit on small pedestals in a grid pattern. I think they're about 2 feet by 2 feet, and at the edge where they butt into the outer frame is where they need a little shelf to support them. So it doesn't have to be cut or fit super tight, but it just has to be there. So what I'm going to do is cut the pieces now, and then I have some special paint I'm going to use on this. I want to coat those before I tack weld it on over a primered piece, so it's not, and then I'll gap it at that too, so that it's not uptight against steel to steel where it won't fare very well. Anyway. Okay, I've been cutting parts over here this morning. It's probably about lunchtime, I'm guessing. I've cut the pickets, cleaned those up. These are for the 4 sections at each landing and the very top of the stairs. I need to get those installed so they can put the hardwood floor in around them. And then that will give me something to anchor the stair sections to. I'm gonna try not to install the stair sections until after those treads are in, because they're solid treads instead of strips of hardwood flooring, which make it really difficult to fish in and fit underneath, and of course finish underneath the stair rails. So that's what we're working towards. If I can get these installed, then we can move on from there. So I'll fab these up today, part of tomorrow, and get them installed on the landings. All right, that's one. I'm gonna keep putting these together, then I'll worry about the base plates. I got two more little ones and a longer one to make. All right, at the drill press here, a little minor tip. I don't know if anybody else does this. If you're drilling into a block of wood as a spacer, just to save yourself some setup, a little hole there, and fill the hole with some drill goo. That way when you drill through, you put a little drop on your drill every time. And it's just enough to break the chip for the next hole. You don't have to ground your material in it. Saves a step or two. I had a pretty deep bevel on those posts so they can get the hardwood floor up around them as tight as possible with less effort for them. But I couldn't get the cup of the wire feed in there, so I just stick welded those. Went pretty good. Filled them right flush, and I'll dress them up with the big wheel on the grinder. Okay, quick check-in video. That's tight. Couldn't really film today on this install of the first pieces because there's a radio going up here. I'm gonna try to run through real quick. What I got going is I've got, oh, I gotta grab my light. I've got the first pieces in here and they're mounted. So as soon as I get the final information on the attachment for these sections, we're trying to do away with it, but we're waiting to hear from the engineer. I can measure and pattern those pieces. But again, we're working our way up. And then everything's in and plumb. There, 3/4 inch space there. I think there's maybe a 1/2 inch over the flooring there. So little by little, then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 rail sections. I'll show you the bottom here real quick. Oh, let's take a look outside. Still got scaffolding up, but we're all painted. Everything's sided, looking good. So I have a detail for the base of this rail to mount through the tread, bolted into the double stringer, but I don't think it's enough. So I think what I'm gonna do is probably pull this apart and drill that and then into the concrete and set the stanchion straight through that. I'll still have the plate at the tread level, and it'll screw in, I'll let it in, but I want that stanchion to come through and be solid, just because, and I'll probably upsize it from, I think I have a piece of 3/4 by 1.5 inch, and it'll just blend in with the rest and you won't see it, but that's what I'm gonna do there. All right. All right, step 1 done. Next step will be to etch it. Okay, that is all painted except for the top edge where the pickets weld to. And I have the angle irons for the paver shelf around it painted. I'll have to burn through the paint to weld those, but that way they're coated both underneath and on the back of themselves where they contact the metal underneath. And we're gonna let that dry. I've got a little job to go do real quick, and I'll come back and get a second coat on that. And that should run that first coat of paint out. It can move around a little bit, so I'll block the bottom end, put the tread back. All right, I think I got this awkward thing figured out here. There was supposed to be a base rail on this, and at the last minute they nixed it and asked that all the pickets be welded directly to the base frame, which just added a boatload of work, fussy work. So what I've come up with is I'm going to cut little blocks that go in between these. These are all, I think it's 3.5. So I'll cut them just a tiny bit under. Yeah, it's just under 3.5 is what I'll cut the block. Staple the blocks there on spacing. The pickets will lay there. I can weld the top rail, and then I'll screw down another piece of material over the top to clamp everything in so I can lift it in and up and set it, and that should be enough. But it's going to be heavy and it's going to suck. All right, back in business here. I ended up putting another piece of 2-inch schedule 40 up there just to get it centered. And then I moved my truck back a little bit too. Sounds like the Raven showed up. I'll go check on him. I'm gonna weld this out and we'll call it a day, I think. Okay, that is sitting on there. Jacks are out. Lunchtime, comma, video meeting, and then we'll come tie it down and pull it out of here and build the, we'll put a handrail jig in for a bunch of other guardrail that's gonna be in here for a while.